It's the Slam Dunk.
Right, this is my final slam dunk of the year, and for me it's wrap time, and I'll make a few sweeping statements and bugger off for the summer. Firstly, thank you for listening and watching. Without you, we have no podcast, so truly thank you to my man Isaac. Truly, mate, you're the most professional, low-fuss, smart, switched-on young bloke that anyone could want to work with. I value you, appreciate you, and you're also easy to work with, mate, so thank you very much. You're the man. I hope you can and want to continue this next year, wherever you may be, chitcha, but we'll make it work. Digital, we can make anything work. You can, anyway. To MediaWorks, Leon, Willie, and co, thank you for continuing to back and support this podcast, which is now 2 years deep. We do it daily, which means there's about 500 podcasts. I do it without a huge network of producers. I've got Isaac on the tools, making sure it looks good, sounds good, and reaches you. He's a pro. And I'm the editor-in-chief. In other words, I've got to find all the subjects and the talent, the interview, set it up, negotiate with people, piss people off, make people happy, take the criticisms, and happily receive the nice feedback. This is how it's now done in the media, with the total collapse of how we once did it and what we knew it to be. I've been sponsored over the years, and I've appreciated that. Without that sort of money coming in, we die. It's a slog. It's daily, it's constant, but I still love it. Podcasts appear to be where it's all at, right? Donald Trump obliged Joe Rogan's request and got 90 million people seeing the podcast in the 2 days before the election. A 3-hour chat. It may have actually got Trump home, I reckon. Podcasts can be hugely influential, and they are where everyone's at. You see, it's online. Look at our behaviours. We don't sit in front of live TV. We sit gripping our phones, and we're all online all the time. People spend half their day online. So podcasts are in the right space and on the right platforms, but it's been another brutal year media-wise. You've seen the total collapse of media here in New Zealand. Hundreds of jobs have gone, big programs, stations, websites, newspapers simply shut down. News Hub this year totally blew up, mass casualties, and they started again. But it's a much smaller, under-resourced and inferior product. But they're trying, and good on staff for their odd decision to enter linear TV. TVNZ's got rid of previously iconic programs, and I know many of these people, and I get it, it's devastating at times. And you think that the sky's falling in, the world's over, and I've been through this, but fighting it seems a waste of energy. Use your energy that you have left over to reinvent yourself and find a space in the market that exists. Many people have done it. Put out something that people want to listen to or watch, just do it. But we're not special. We're just another industry going through massive technological, digital, and financial change. And the advertising dollar has gone elsewhere. It's hard to get back. So we've got to find a way to make it work and find a way to cover costs so we can continue to push the product. It's now become a fight and a battle, and I don't mind that in many ways. It's the only way I know, really. Society is always facing change, and change is always constant, and if you think it's not, then you need your head read. If you think there's anything inside it at all, to be honest. But we have no right to think that people will just turn up and listen or watch. They used to 40 years ago. We put it in front of them, they had to. It's all they had. That's the arrogance of yesterday. We have to earn the right again to be heard and to be listened to. None of this should surprise us. We had all the warnings for years, right? And that's life. Do you see the Walkman anymore? How's your CD player, Isaac? What about your VHS tape, your beta tape? And we always have adapted. We're humans. We always adapt. Humans always adapt. It's what makes humans being the smartest people on earth. That's who we are. We adapt and we refuse to die. You moan and whinge and you feel like you're owed a living. That's the fastest way to die in this industry. Dead, buried, gone. So as we end this year, I'm grateful that at 50 I can still be doing it. I certainly feel as energised by it all as I ever have. I always try to move forward and onwards, so any thought of returning to Wellington to do a political reporting stint as a way of staying alive was never really contemplated. I think the media has a serious trust and honesty issue, which is not good for all of us. Many people I run into now say that the COVID era and what they know now has left them disillusioned with media and they don't trust us, so we must work collectively to earn it back, whether you believe it or not. To sit still and say the audience is wrong is delusional. And with that, we must allow free speech for everyone, not just free speech and opinion for the chosen few. My view on that is that some media have become too narrow, and we need to do better. Even if you may not agree with someone's view, there's no reason not to include them in the daily dialogue. They must be included. And while I may not agree with someone, I will fight furiously for their right to be heard. I urge all in the media to open their minds and to work to regain trust, which is not going to be a simple task or an easy task. Before I go, a quick take on politics, 2024. It wasn't the year Chris Luxon had wanted. We're in the poo financially, and we're borrowing about as much as Labor did, if not more. The books are awful, revenue's down, unemployment will continue to rise, trade's uncertain due to Trump. Kiwis will continue to leave for Aussie, and my take on that has now changed. It's a good thing, I think. It means, it's not a negative, it means the unemployment numbers can stay in check rather than blow out. It's our pathway to further employment when the home front's flat. It's not a bad place to have Aussie, is it? Luxon has so much work to do to win our hearts and minds. He's not overly popular. He's got lots of work to do to convince the electorate he's worth another go, probably, but there's plenty of time for him. Labor looks irrelevant. It's talking tax, albeit Chris Hipkins remains relatively popular due to Luxon's inability to climb the polls, I reckon. New Zealand First is doing what it does. Winston appears Entirely capable as a foreign minister, Māori Party are truly now an outspoken and aggressive activist force movement who will be either Labour's plaything in office or they'll dictate what Labour does. A Labour-Green Māori coalition may scare you, and that's Luxon's greatest card, probably. The Greens have had their worst year on record. Their vote remains pretty strong. That's because their brand is Greens, and that's locked in whether they steal handbags from fancy stores or don't pay people who work in bike shops. That leaves David Seymour, whose main aim is to be noticed. Well, that's happening. And seen, that's happening, and re-elected in 2026. And on that front, he dominates headlines and is seen to be doing something all the time. And the hikoi in the end, I think, helps him sell his message. I hear cries of racism directed at him. I find the word lazy. Let's debate what he's got to say, have a genuine debate and win it. I have no doubt his strategy is long-term and it's about act survival. I don't think it's hurting him. I say to Māoridom, politicians come and go, and you will always be there. I'm done. I'm out. I'll spend a week in Aussie. I plan to return to continue the podcast. If I don't, I've landed a job in Australia. Okay? Even truck driving there pays you $200,000. And that's the greatest thing about New Zealand right now. We live close to them. And a decent job is not that far away. In fact, it's closer than taking 2 flights to the South Island. Sometimes we go there to get cancer treatment. Now we can go there to make a decent living. Just while I mention cancer, Malcolm Mulholland delivered a petition of more than 100,000 signatures to Parliament today, demanding Farmac's budget be doubled. It all began due to his late wife, Vicky, and her struggle with breast cancer. I mention this because this was always the goal, and Malcolm, I honour you and your family. Merry Christmas, mate. Your work's never done, and what that means is you do a true public service. I urge Kiwibank to name you New Zealander of the Year someday. You've saved and extended lives. What more do you need to do? We are, folks, truly privileged, not landlocked, not at war, and if you want to work, you can. And for me, despite the hikoi, we all get on. We live side by side. But I worry we have a shrinking middle class and our standard of living is under threat. The rich will always be rich, but we need fewer people who are battling, and right now it's only increasing. Wealth is not evil. We need more of it. Let's keep reminding ourselves we're still the greatest nation on earth without the conflict that so many others face. Let's never forget that, and let's always remain that way. Stay humble, stay true. Peace out.
Duncan Garner, live.